So welcome everyone. My name is Ola Yinka from ReTrain Nigeria, and we have Sherry and Curly from ReTrain Canada. Curly is our main speaker, and Sherry is my sine qua non, that which I can't do without, apparently.
Oh,
So
thank you.
she's here to, ensure the session is lively and also engage with all of us as well. So this is the project management masterclass. Sure, I don't know what's on the next slide. If you don't mind moving to the next slide. I'm not sure if I.
Absolutely.
Okay, so introductions to retrain, which is what I am going to be handling majorly. So retrain Nigeria, we basically partnered with ReTrain Canada. We are into future focused skills training. In a nutshell, that's what we do. So basically, we prepare people for the future of work, and we make sure people are also work, what's it called? We like call it workplace ready, like ensure that you are performing optimally at your job, whatever it may be, and also assist people in gaining skills that will make you globally employable. I don't know if that makes sense, but yes, globally employable. Our courses are 100% interactive, so you're not going to be watching recorded videos. You're going to be in class, be able to put on your camera and ask questions. They're very interactive. As you see, Coralie is one of our instructors, and you heard her saying, oh, our past students can always reach out to her via email. So it's a very interactive session, and that's the way you actually learn. Then you get to practice again, practice a lot rather. You don't just come in and hear a lot of talk. You actually practice. There'll be assignments. So just to make sure that whatever skill you're learning, you're very confident in it by the time you're done. And our courses range from 2 weeks to 4 weeks. We have some 6 weeks courses as well. But majority of our courses are 2 to 4 weeks because we want you to gain those skills in the shortest amount of time. And it's not a wishy-washy kind of learning. It's, as I said, it's practical and it's very interactive. And we also ensure that you're ready for the job market. So we help you with your CV optimization. We help you with LinkedIn. We help you with interview preps. We don't want to give you a skill and then leave you to fend for yourself. We want to help you, hold your hand as you look for these jobs and make sure that you actually get those jobs that you want. And we have courses ranging from tech to non-tech courses. So we have like data analytics, we have digital marketing, we have accounting and bookkeeping, we have virtual assistant and client support, we have project management with Microsoft 365, and many more courses, even sales accelerator bootcamp, which is pretty much, yeah, if you want to be in sales, it's the perfect course for you. So yes, we have a lot of courses. If you go to our website, I'm sure you'd have seen all the courses that we have. And yeah, so that's Retrain in a nutshell. Um, Sherry, I believe this is where I hand over to you, or do I still have
No, you're good. You're good. Thank
okay.
you, Olienka. First, thank you
You're
for the
welcome.
amazing introduction. Like Olienka said, the whole goal of these courses is to deliver the skills you need when you need them. So we are concise. We've removed a lot of the fluff. We focus on just giving you the different skills. Before I introduce the absolutely amazing Coralie, two things from a housekeeping perspective. I'm sure as we're going through this conversation, you'll have a lot of questions. We'll leave time at the end of class for those questions, just in case they're going to get answered as we go. When we're done the presentation, we'll hand it back over to Olienka for contact information and such so you can see next steps. I'm just going to go back to the agenda for a moment. So this masterclass is to introduce project management, identify core frameworks and methodologies, essential tools and technologies, how to lead successful teams and projects, remote project management, and challenges. So Coralie is going to take us on a tour of some of the key ideas that, of course, in the course we will go through in more detail. So let me introduce the fabulous Coralie. And I say that because if you're interested in virtual administration and client support, or project management with Office 365, this is the amazing woman you're going to see. And there's a lot of parallels in those courses. She has over 25 years of experience in education, oil and gas, in corporate communication and entrepreneurship. She is a skilled educator and curriculum developer, is an expert in the Microsoft Office products, and knows how to tie everything together. So she helps adults gain the skills, confidence, and tools they need to successfully transition into new careers. Before I hand it over to Coralie, one more thing. Anytime we offer a course or information, we want to build on the skills you already have. So we know that you're coming to the table with lots of experience already. We just want to build on that. So Coralie's going to take you on a tour of kind of an overview of the topics we'll be covering while giving you some great information. As Olienka said, she is recording this, so you'll be able to get a copy of the slides afterwards. All right, Coralie, the floor is yours. Teach us some magic.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Olienka. Always a pleasure to be back. So welcome, everybody. It looks like we have quite a few individuals in here right now, so that is wonderful to see. I just want to talk a little bit about project management along with Office 365, just to give you a little bit of an introduction of what this would look like if you were to take this 2-week course. The power of project management. Now, I really believe that as a project manager, you're coming in a lot of times in universal roles that are going to play a critical role into various types of industries. A lot of people are coming in here with different backgrounds. A project manager, you could be in the construction world, you could be in IT, you could be in healthcare, oil and gas, education, anything that is really part of your job, you could be playing a key role as a project manager. It also is going to emphasize on a lot of the results within the project to deliver the outcomes for structured planning, execution, and that control. I also did want to put in here that global demand for project management talent is projected to increase by 33% by 2027, based on the Project Management Institution, which is the PMI. Project managers are also going to be responsible, and this is another fun part, is teaching a little math component that you get to be learning on how to do expected time by using calculations to help you determine how long an actual project phase can take to complete. So we could guess, but using a little bit of a calculation to help really iron it out will really solidify an accurate timeline to make this project more streamlined. Projects can also contribute to at least 25% of gross domestic products, which is our GDP, which is also for what our consumers are spending, our government spending, any of the net exports, total investments, anything basically for the country's economic health. I did also put in there, sometimes people also want to know, like, what can somebody make? From 2023, just based on US studies, it does have about 115,000. Again, that really depends on the job that you are going into within the industry as a project manager. Moving into the next slide. Sherry, would you mind moving the slide?
Oh, I did. Didn't I?
Oh, it didn't change on there.
How about now?
Yes, sorry. I was like, it didn't go, but it did now. Thank you very much. Oh. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, so just looking more at what is project management and some of the core principles. Project management is just really ensuring that us as a project manager are meeting the requirements of that project. Really understanding and having the knowledge, the skills, the tools, and the techniques that we would use. I want to focus just on 5 of the core phases that we would look at. The very first one you can see in here is initiation, planning, execution, monitor and control, and closure. Initiation, to give you an idea, is really the start of a plan. So we want to make sure that we have a really good idea. It's been approved, which is really important. And the goal is, well, what is the project? Who are the stakeholders involved? Some of the stakeholders involved could be internal stakeholders, as well as external stakeholders. What are the resources that you have, and what also that we can do with this project? The planning stage is going to be creating a step-by-step plan, mapping it out. We have lots of different ways to be able to map out our project that we would be able to look at. Who is also doing what? So we also want to have some examples, some goals, the tasks, what are the costs going to be, and also looking at the risks, because there could be some risks that we could be taking. It could be financial, it could be unforeseen things that we're not anticipating or expecting. So that's also where that calculation can come in to help us kind of buffer some of that for those unforeseen events as well. The next one is the execution. Execution is really doing and completing the work and making sure we're keeping everybody updated. So those would be all internal and external stakeholders, upper management. And it's really important that you kind of follow the process of the flow. So no different from a job. If you have something or a report that you need to report, or somebody you needed to report to, you would have somebody you report to. They would then report to the person above them. This is kind of what the project manager also would do. You would report to them, and they would report to the additional management as well as the stakeholders. Another one is monitor and control. So that is really essential, is staying on track of the plan, making sure that we're doing project updates, looking at the quality and the scope of the project, fixing problems if they need, making those adjustments. So again, delays and unforeseen things could happen. The last is making sure that we are doing our closure, which is wrapping up a project. This is where we hand over deliverables. We want to make sure that we're documenting also lessons learned. Do you think that every project is going to be successful? Not necessarily. So it's taking away what worked and what can we change to make better for the next time. Overall, we want to celebrate. So we want to celebrate the success of that project. This is where during each of these phases, you could also have milestones of accomplishments of maybe we're bringing in lunches, or you're doing something special just to celebrate those successes of those milestones as you go. The one other thing for your core phases is the PMBOK, which is your project management body of knowledge. It is the 7th edition. Right now, they're on 2021 for the edition. It is something that was developed by the Project Management Institution, so the PMI, and it's globally recognized as a standard. So it's something that we try to be able to follow. As the guide is broken down into 2 different parts, this is something that provides us as project managers the best practices, the terminology, guides, and standards to follow, the framework for managing products very effectively, as well as other knowledge areas. Just to name a few would be the time, which is also the math calculations to help you determine how long a project could take. So you're really accurate with it and it's realistic. The cost, the quality, risk management. So everybody is following that as well. Project managers typically spend 70 to 90% of the time just on communication alone. So a question that I have for you is, why do you think that percentage is so high for a project manager to focus just on communication alone? Does anybody have something that they wanted to come off their muted mic and share?
Or put in the chat.
So please, you can put your hand up if you want to talk.
You can also put it in the Teams chat. Please do.
Okay, Odushina. Sorry if I said that.
Is there something in there? Okay.
So someone put up his hand, or Drushino, but let me check the chat.
Okay, sure. I see one, Emmanuel. I see Emmanuel's hand up.
Okay, let me allow his mic so that. Okay, so Emmanuel, you can unmute yourself and speak. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Engaging with team and stakeholders. All stakeholders need to be updated and be on the same page of information. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you for reading those. Another one, another couple. Do you mind reading those, Sherry?
Absolutely, because they have to keep the stakeholders and management always informed, sharing of information. I think it's because they constantly coordinate team members who are involved in project execution. All excellent answers, yes. For everyone on the team to understand what is being done and how to achieve it. Again, yes.
Absolutely.
I believe this is because they have to keep all stakeholders informed and updated. So it sounds like everybody's on the right page with this.
Absolutely. And just really making sure that there's no disconnection from anybody. Everybody is exactly collaborating and that team effort is going into it. Absolutely. What is that next one there, Sherry? Sorry, it popped up and I missed it.
Because they need to have a clarity and understanding on what they are working on with the cross-functional team. I think that was Blessing. She knows.
Yeah, yes. So that's fantastic. So really great answers. What's that next one there? Sorry, I missed a few there too. Again, do you mind reading those again there, Sherry?
Sure, we'll read 2 more.
Okay, thank
All
you.
corrections must be put up in the lesson learned and keep learning to carry
Excellent.
all stakeholders along the project being carried out. Help the team to be aligned on the brief. You got it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Great answers, everybody. It sounds like everybody really understands that really essential aspect of the project management. Moving into our next slide, just to move forward, is talking about the core frameworks and methodologies. So I want to just focus on just some of these, and then we're going to look at them a little bit more individual on how one can be better than the other potentially. There's a lot of growth and kind of overlap. So one of the first ones is a traditional waterfall approach. This is more of a linear phase-based project. Agile methodology is going to be more iterative, more flexible. We look at a Scrum framework, which is looking at a couple different roles for project owner, Scrum master, as well as a development team. Kanban is more of a visual workflow. And then also leading off and adding is hybrid approaches where there could be a combination of the two. So really making sure that we're trying to choose the right framework. So moving to our next slide will show us our very first traditional approach. This is, again, the linear sequential process with distinct phases. So one of the things that we looked at before was the planning, the execution, the monitoring and control, as well as the closure. So each of the phases must be completed before you move into the next. Those are where we can also celebrate with the milestones. So once you finish one of the phases, so the planning before you move to the next one, as the example has designing, this is where we want to make sure that we can have a milestone in between. Maybe we have certain deadlines, maybe we beat those deadlines and now we're ahead of schedule and we still have maybe extra time to spend in other phases. So those are really essential. This type of approach is really suited for projects that have really well-defined requirements with minimal expected changes. So something for like construction or things like that, those are very repetitive projects that it's pretty consistent. So if you are building a home, for an example, or you're doing some manufacturing positions, it could be a repetitive thing where there's really minor expected changes to happen. Some of the pros about using this style of approach was it's very clear structure and documentation. It's very easy to track it with those milestones. Some of the disadvantages could be it could be inflexible to change once it's started, or there could be a late discovery of issues. Moving to our next slide, we're going to look at our Agile Kanban board, which is more of a flexible approach, really focusing on continuous improvement and adaptability. So we want to look at where there could be breaking your work into shorter cycles, which is called a sprint. And then from there, we look for regular feedback within those loops. These are really suited for using the agile approach, where it could be software development, marketing campaigns, things like that, where there is a lot of change consistently happening. So if you think of software isn't always going to work smoothly. There's going to be updates, there's going to be changes, there could be a bug in the software. So there could be evolving changes on a regular basis. Some of the pros to this one as well could be it's very adaptable to change, and it encourages especially stakeholder involvement. Some of the disadvantages, it could be less predictable time frame, because we can anticipate maybe something's going to start in June, but in 2025, but now it's in 2027. So but maybe it moves up to 2026 after. So it's very unpredictable, that timeline. Another thing is we also would look at that we're trying to avoid the creep scope, which is unexpected, issues that could arise as well. I also put the Kanban board in here. Just going back to the last slide for a moment. That is okay. I also put the Kanban board in here as well, just because I think that it's nice just to be able to see, we do have the different kind of columns. We have the columns, what's called a swim lane, and then the different cards. It's more of the visual work frame management using the boards and the cards, but as well as it focuses on continuous delivery, as well as that work in progress. So if you had a whiteboard and you just had little stick-it notes up top, or if you had, a pin board where you have the cards, you can move something from the to-do column over to the in-progress column. But the thing is, you can always, it's no longer in progress. It has to go back because we have something else more pressing. You can move it back to the to-do column as well. So it's very flexible in that. But the nice thing about the pros is it's very efficient, it's transparent, it's easy to adopt, but people really like it because it's a really good visual as well. Now, you don't always have to use a board like this. We will be seeing some of the software upcoming, and some of the software will be something you can use very similar to a Kanban board as well. Now we can move into the next slide, which is Scrum Master. So Scrum Master is very similar to an agile subset. It does have 3 defined roles specifically. So it does have the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the developmental team. So I just kind of want to focus a little bit just on the first diagram, then I'm going to talk about the second diagram in a moment. The product owner is the first one. So the product owner is the liaison between the stakeholders. They will also talk to the Scrum Master. The Scrum Master is more of the translator, where the product owner is the transmitter. So they will continue to talk to other people as the external stakeholders. The Scrum Master will also be the lead communicator for the development team, and they will ensure that what they know from the development team goes to the Scrum Master, who goes to that product owner. The development team is basically the people who are doing the work, okay? So they're known as the specialists, so subject matter experts on that. So when I kind of look at this, could you get certified to be more of a Scrum Master over a project manager? Yes, you can. It's just a little bit of a bigger role. But I think the additional thing about this is when I kind of look at the product owner, I look at those as the stakeholders. And when I look at the Scrum Master, it is very similar to a project management position. When I look over at the next diagram, it also shows some of the best practices for an effective Scrum Master, which is, taking on a few additional roles from the PM role, but they really lead by serving. So removing those barriers, really guiding the team with leadership, so really supporting each other, really having open communication, which I really think that is really essential, making sure that it feels like a really safe and honest place, really promoting self-organization, even allowing you to make your own decisions as long as, it is successful, but putting you are the subject matter expert, and they want to encourage you to take that ownership and staying adaptable, just really using the processes and coaching to meet every evolving need that can occur. So this is really suited for delivering products and improvements very, very quickly. Why? Because usually a Scrum framework happens within a 2 to 4 week process. Okay, it's a very short, quick term. So if you think about it, if there's some software updates that need to happen, we want to do it very quickly. Why? Because we need to update the software for other users to be able to continue to use, and it's not taken away for a long period of time. Moving into our next slide is going to be looking more at a hybrid approach. Hybrid approach is where you're more combining the elements of both the waterfall and the agile style, often using the waterfall for more of a higher planning level, and the agile is more for the execution. So it can be complex projects that typically are used for the hybrid approach, but the oversight is more flexible for the delivery. So an example that I could provide, and you can see the very first diagram is showing the waterfall to the agile. The hybrid on the second image is going to show where maybe you're building of a physical product. You would use the waterfall design, but for the agile, it would be maybe the software integration. Okay, so that would be really essential. So building of the project and then the software integration, where you have both the hybrid approach would be used. Moving to the next page is just looking now at what that comparison table looks like. We already looked at each of the methodologies as well as what the approach would be. Just as a quick recap, a waterfall approach is more of a linear sequential, and you can see how it falls down into the phases one at a time is going to happen. More suited for projects that have fixed requirements, very clear structure, easier to track, as well as some of the disadvantages that it's not as flexible as like, let's say, the agile approach. Agile is more adaptable. We could have smaller sprints being involved in here, evolving requirements, some software marketing as mentioned, very adaptable to stakeholders, but some of the disadvantages, it's less predictable of a timeline. The Scrum is more of an agile framework as well, so very short sprints. So remember, that's a 2 to 4 week timeline that you're going to do it. That's why it's called a sprint. It happens very, very fast. Very strong collaboration, very frequent feedback, because we want to consistently talk about it all the time and have little breakout sessions. And then it also may need more discipline because it is happening very quickly. The Kanban board that we kind of looked at as well is a visual board. We really are looking at the work in progress, continuous delivery. We want to look at the pros, which is very simple to adopt, but the cons, it's less suited for fixed deadlines. So that's where we do have some other software that can also assist. And the hybrid, again, is more of the mix of the waterfall and agile, more complex structure. It can be very balanced between the two, and it does require careful coordination. One of the other things, just moving into the next slide, is looking at some more of our essential tools and technologies that a project manager can use. So there is a bunch of different software on here. Once we go through the software, I'm going to be a little bit more specific on the ones that you will be learning in the project managing position for this course with Office 365. So Jira is one that is used for more of an agile approach. That is one of the many softwares. The Asana is one. Microsoft Planner is really suited for task tracking, as well as Microsoft Project, more scheduling and planning. We do have our Gantt charts, our Kanban board views, Monday.com, Trello for visuals. Those are some other ones that are out there. The collaboration and communication platforms, we have Slack, we also have Zoom, and we also have Microsoft Teams. For document management, people can use Google Drive. There's SharePoint, which is more of a central location to documents. Confluence. We also have Power BI for project KPIs, which is your key performance indicators. You have your Power Automate. You have your forms. We also have OneNote. So just talking about those for a minute before we talk about risk management tools, some of the software that you would learn in the project management 2-week course would be the Microsoft Planner. You would also be exposed to the Microsoft Project, and we'd be able to look at Gantt charts, different Kanban boards, things like that. We would be talking about Zoom as well as Microsoft Teams in more detail. Google Drive is something really essential, but SharePoint is the one that we do talk about with the central location to those documents. So that is the key one over the Google Drive. Some companies will use Google Docs. We will be showing the SharePoint aspect of it, but we could also discuss the Google Drive areas. Forms is another one, and this is going to help us gather information, especially within our project and other team members. So we will be using that one as well as OneNote. OneNote is another useful tool, so it really helps you organize notes and all of the other information as well. So once a lot of people learn how to use OneNote, they'll use it in their personal lives as well as their work situations, I've actually observed. Okay. Now, one of the things about risk management tools I want to talk about, there are times where risk management tools, we need to use something to help us identify, analyze, and respond to help with project risks. So you can get some of the software, and some of the software is paid. It'll help you look at some of the risks, probability, impact ratings, mitigation strategies, how to track those details, which kind of leads you into one of them is called the Monte Carlo simulation software. So the simulation will show us a modeling of what the project outcomes for a large project would look like, how to help predict risk management and risk time and costs, looking at forecasting and contingency plans, any risks that could be there as well. All right. One of the things you can also share into the Teams chat to answer this question before we move to the next slide, but what do you think is one of the most important skills of a project manager?
Ooh, that's a good question. One skill, if you had to name one skill, what is that skill? If you had to pick one, I'm curious.
Okay, I see communication coming up. Time management, those are some really good ones. Visualization. Wow, risk communication, there is a lot. Excellent. This is great. Wow. Okay, so everyone has really got working under pressure, effective communication, excellent responses, everybody. So what this is I'm just going to there. When you and moving to our next slide, one of them is correct in here, guys, is the key one I like to look at is that communication. So by having that communication, this helps us to be able to establish very clear channels. So it's very structured. Also encouraging daily stand-up. So, getting up, not just sitting at the desk, being able to have those meetings, making sure our goals are aligning, being very transparent with sharing the data. So maybe we are using one of those software applications, but only the project manager is the person who's going to be doing any major changes and updates. You could make notes, but major changes and updates, we only want to have one person basically in there doing that. And who's going to do that communication? Who's going to communicate what, when, and how? And so we also have to communicate to the externals as well. One of the things about communication I also like to look at, which is essential for a project, is there also would be fewer misunderstandings. You can resolve faster issues as well as increase trust as well. Stakeholder management is more looking to identify, again, the internal as well as the externals. So it could be your team, your management versus your clients and your vendors, really mapping and analyzing what that would look like, in engaging all parties, making sure we get meetings and feedback, and managing those expectations. So making sure that we're able to deliver, we have our reports, we have our timelines, and we are on track. One of the other kind of objectives I would say also for stakeholder management is we also want to try to reduce a scope creep. Scope creep is another word that we use, but those are those unforeseen things that could happen that kind of creep up on us that we're not anticipating. So we really want to kind of resolve those very quickly, and making sure that we improve stakeholder satisfaction. So if we are doing work for external clients and vendors, we want them to use us again. And internally, I also, as a project manager, might suggest a team based on what their objective is. You know what, based on what this is aligning, I have the perfect people that I could bring in as my development team. This is who I would recommend. Maybe this is the resumes that I give. And from there, they agree that, yes, this is the team. I know how everybody collaborates, how everybody works, and I know that I'm standing behind my members that I'm bringing in. So I'm recruiting them in as well. Another thing is conflict resolution. So not everyone's going to agree all the time, and conflict can be very healthy, but we want to help mediate disputes and make sure that it's a safe area for everybody to be able to have the conversation. And based on that, I think that as a project manager, we also want to make sure that we establish a standard policy for conflict when it does arise between team members. It will bring a stronger team cohesion and reducing disruptions. We want harmony in the workplace as well as having fun. The last one is motivation and empowerment. So really making sure that we're delegating effectively, recognizing those achievements. So if we're ahead of schedule by 4 days, great. If we're behind, where can we make up time? Do we need to make any adjustments? Making sure those that are affected by the project are aware of the setbacks, being very transparent and honest, and really providing those growth opportunities. So I really find that this is also important because it'll increase, the ownership, innovation by individuals, and really good morale as well. Moving to the next slide. This is for thriving remotely and the strategies that you as a project manager can do for remote. We have structured communication. So we really want to make sure that we have a strong foundation for remote team success. So this is where we could schedule meetings. It could be daily, it could be weekly, it could be dedicated virtual channels. So Microsoft Teams, Zoom, whatever that would look like. Another thing is even just sending them maybe email progress updates or maybe a form that they need to fill out. Really want to help to prevent isolation of those individuals as well, and really ensuring accountability and to reduce miscommunication. Some of the other tools adopted just to make sure that we're on the same page, as well as knowing that we are also dealing with other people in different time zones, is going to be maybe, the cloud-based software, Microsoft Planner. This could be Microsoft Projects, whatever that would look like, using digital whiteboards, those emails, really adapting in those tools. It really matters. Trust and autonomy is going to be focusing on those outcomes, which is really essential. We don't want to be a micromanager. We want to be able to trust that you know what you are doing, and we want to make sure that you have increased ownership as well. So we want you to not just deliver hours, but deliver those results. Really making sure that we're empowering the team members with clear responsibilities and allowing for flexibility. So I think that's really essential. And virtual team building, it really matters to be able to build a team rapport. We also want to make sure that we're reducing burnout and also strengthens trust within our team. So making sure that we have even non-work social interactions, coffee breaks, check-ins, celebrate those wins, and never removing anybody from that. So remote teams report 80% higher morale and a 22% lower turnover. And I really think is because of that flexibility and a lot of those other things, it really brings it all together. Okay, moving to one of our last slides, this is going to happen. Everyone is going to run into challenges, and I really think the challenges are really important to view. You could have communication gaps. So there could be miscommunication in written messages. There could be tone. There could be different body language that is coming from there. So just having a misunderstanding from that context, maybe a strategy would be using structured updates, video calls for more complex topics, written follow-ups after that. Time zone differences, I know that we are experiencing that in today as well. That could also be difficulty scheduling meetings that could be working for everybody. I know Sherry had a meeting that started at 6 a.m. the other day, which is our time, which is a different time, but it's okay, because sometimes we need to be able to be flexible, to be able to match and be able to be there for your team. Right? So setting those meetings. Sometimes it could be also a slower decision making because not everybody's available at that same time. So you have to wait. Maybe in that case, we could have scheduling delays. So with that, a strategy is maybe we rotate meeting times. We record sessions like we're doing here today. Maybe we're using other shared tools that people can also go in there to be able to view. Limited team visibility as well can also be hard to gauge somebody's workload. So this is where you're really trusting that they are doing what they're supposed to, making sure they have good productivity, really good team morale, and making sure they're not overlooked to see, are they struggling or anything like that. Some of those is you could use different dashboards, maybe one-on-one check-ins, and really encourage sharing. Number 4 is technology and tool dependency. So just really making sure that you have a stable internet, everything is performing, and knowing that there could be challenges, especially with new members coming on or new technology. So making sure that we also have backup, maybe training, providing training, and making sure that we're really keeping communication light, but it's real as well. Number 5 is also collaboration. Collaboration barriers. This is where a lot of times in an office setting, we could, as they call it, water cooler moments where people are talking and they're having a coffee talk and they're talking about the stuff face to face, and we don't necessarily have that. But this is where maybe we want to have, those spontaneous ideas, but we need to be able to share them. So maybe we can schedule a brainstorming session with our team, or create a chat space, or share files with people to see what they like about that, or if this can be something incorporated. Culture and Trust and accountability. So this is managers feeling unsure if there's risks being handled, if it's micromanaging, feeling disconnected. Again, this is where we want to focus on deliverables, making sure we celebrate those milestones and really set clear responsibilities and expectations. Culture and language differences is another one. So really seeing there could be a misunderstanding, so miscommunication, as well as time wasted on expectations to really clarify those. That's where we really want to use very simple and plain language, making sure there's also cultural awareness training and confirming the understanding before you even move on or carry on with a project. You want to make sure everybody understands before moving forward. And the last one for number 8 is maintaining a team morale. And that is looking at risk of isolation, burnout in remote settings as well. Sometimes we don't like to take breaks, we just sit there. So it's really trying to encourage it. And also non-work social interactions. So what could you do in that when you're feeling a little bit isolated? Plan team building, or also going online and recognizing those achievements and encouraging wellness breaks. So, you know what? We're going to stop an hour early and all of us are going to maybe do online yoga. I'm just giving a simple example. That could be something that, we would really want to make sure that everybody is, doing something together, but it's feeling like they're still part of that team. Moving to our next slide is your path forward and some takeaways. So some of the things, project manager, we need to make sure that we're very versatile and very universal. So we want to make sure that we're delivering and we're very diverse. The principles are structured. We have really good set of goals, timelines, and we have those stakeholders that are involved, making sure the adaptability is key based on what method you're going to be using. If it's the waterfall, is it hybrid, is it agile, and really making sure that you're able to adapt even if something creeps in, like that creep scope as well. Skills do matter, so making sure that you're also very proficient in the technical aspect. You have strong leadership, so that would be assertive as well, and that your communication is crucial. So it's really about having the right people as well, that I believe. There are some next steps in here. So one of the first steps is our ReTrain Office Management with Office 365 certification. From that is other things that you could consider is getting into the project management profession, which is called a PMP, or even a certified Scrum Master, which is a CSM. So those are also additional certifications. You could also join in some of the project management alliances or start with small projects to gain some of those experiences before you even move forward. PMP is your project management professional, and that is just globally more of an experienced project manager. So I would start out just having the certificate before you get more certified. There is exams and stuff that you also need to take to get certified. The same with the Scrum Master. It's more suited only for if you're going to be working more in agile environments. So join in some of those different communities, really getting to network, knowing other people who are project managers, having those resources and some of those standards, starting small, thinking big. So those are, volunteering at events or some things, or, getting involved in a team or looking for project changes. So those are all things to basically be able to look at. So project management is more of a skill set, empowering individuals and the teams to turn those ideas into outcomes, no matter what industry that you're in. So thank you for that. I'm going to pass the floor back to Sherry, and she's going to continue on to the next slides.
Coralie, thank you so much. So
You're
couple of things. I'm going to go back for a minute.
Sure.
because Coralie, you've demonstrated several of these things really well today. So right
you.
off the bat, for those of you who don't know, Coralie this is her 4th straight hour of talking this morning. So first of all, talking about, time change, adaptability, fitting everything in. First of all, amazing. The time zones, I need to Olenka, I drive her crazy. It takes me so long to figure out the time difference between places. And in Canada, of course, twice a year we change our time, which I won't give you my opinion on, but we do that. And then I have to go through the whole process again. So time zones, this is huge. Olenka and I work together all the time. We figure it out. It's either late at night for her or it's early in the morning for me, but we work together to figure that out.
Yeah.
The other thing I really want to talk about just for a moment is maintaining that team morale. Little things. So my entire team is remote. We are all over the place. Once in a while, we get to sit in the same office, but we're everywhere. Pictures of our pets. We will occasionally start a meeting with dad jokes, PG-13 dad jokes, but we'll start with some dad jokes. And one of the things you'll learn when you're taking the course with Coralie or whatever instructor you're working with is that few minutes at the beginning of class where you oh, and good morning. And I know that all of our abstract sequential people are going, what? Let's get right to business. But that connection is so important. So honestly, Coralie, I would love to be sitting in your class for the full lesson on the challenges in remote project management, because the more you can predict and the more you can plan for, absolutely. Sorry, I get a little excited. Now,
excitement is good.
Excitement is good. Now, for this class, who should attend? It could be somebody that is aspiring to be a project manager. Now, you don't have to have the formal title or certification depending on what it is that you're aspiring to work with, for example. So a lot of companies with smaller teams, the project manager is just that leader who ends up coordinating the cross-functional teams. And they need that little bit of training to ensure that they've set up the communication channels, that they've set up the necessary milestones, that they're speaking the same language as everybody else. Entrepreneurs and business leads, huge. Because if you're running a company, you should have an idea of how to coordinate. We've all probably seen or been part of a team that's been over allocated. Our resources are just a touch thin, because you're wearing many hats. And a company owner who can identify that, or a company manager who can look and go, okay, yeah. Career switchers, team leads, start preparing your people right away. Even if you're just a team lead, you're not running the whole project, what could they start to implement to make their small team run more effectively? So these are some of the key things. Anyone who wants to add that piece of information that they don't currently have, you could start by doing a quick course, get the terminology, know what you're talking about. And of course, we're in the age of continuous learning. So once you know what to research using AI or using Google, we could go old school. Isn't that sad? Google is old school now.
It is.
We could go right? We could go old school in Google, but we know what to look up next.
And project managers actually are using AI more and more and more to help troubleshoot some of the things that are, if I were to say, going sideways.
Oh, absolutely. When you're doing your risk mitigation table and you ask AI, have I missed any risks? Do you identify any further risks? And the worst part is when it spits out 13 more things that didn't even cross your mind. There could be a fire. Oh, there could be, so common sense, of course, AI is not always right.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yes.
So Coralie put a couple recommended readings here, and of course Olyanka is going to share the slides. The certification that ReTrain offers, a couple of woo. If you're newer to the whole office environment, you could start with some office skills, so office management with 365. This course is specifically Introduction to Project Management, again with tools, right? Because that's the key. That's what makes this so important. You could spit out all the theory in the world, but if you can't isolate or use the tools that you have, it's not going to be helpful.
Mm-hmm. And that would be the project management there with Office 365. Yes.
You got it.
Yes.
Now we're going to put this screen back on. I'm going to turn it over to Olyanka again for a minute, but I have to say this. So for those of you who've worked with Olyanka and her team, you already know this. They're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. Not only can they help you identify skill gaps, point you in the right direction, which might even be in a direction different than what you initially thought. Here's all the contact information. So it's that Olyanka and her team can talk to you about when the courses are, what you could register for. We're going to do a few just 3-hour classes for those of you who are under a real time crunch, because we know life is busy. So there's all of the contact information, and Olyanka will share the slides with everybody. But Olyanka, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Is there anything else you'd like to add or share with everybody who's here?
Yes, thank you so much, Coralie, and thank you so much, Sherry. Coralie, you are just the best. Well, Sherry, no, you are the best. Coralie is the second best, because Sherry has to be my number one at all times.
I'm number one.
Yes.
She's number two. Or first,
We'll
we're second, the
discuss
best. I'm just kidding.
So that was very informative.
Okay. I will call it a truce. We are both fantastic.
Okay.
Yes, but you're fantastic too.
That works. Thank you. Yes, so very informative session. I'm sure everyone enjoyed it, and I don't know if you have questions to ask, but I just wanted to add a couple of things. So in addition to the project management with Office 365 course, which is coming up in October 20th, on October 20th, we also have a new series called Retrain Micro Mastery. So these are basically half-day courses, and we have MS Planner as one of those courses as well. So if you just want to take a one-day course on zeroing in on the MS Planner, which Coralie mentioned, you can do that. We have communication and conflict resolution. Communication is a skill that is needed in any job, project manager, salesperson. Like, communication is key because we're all communicating, we're selling something. So communication is extremely key. So we actually have a half-day course on communication and conflict resolution alone. Then we also have AI mastery. So I think Coralie mentioned using ChatGPT. Google is now old school. So also knowing how to use AI is also a skill that you should learn, because if you're working right now and you're not using AI, something is wrong. And if you're even using AI right now, trust me, you can use it better with the right knowledge. And I also wanted to mention in terms of certification. So I'm the program manager at ReTrain Nigeria, and I don't have a PMP or PMI. So honestly, it's just about the skill. Having that skill is more important than having all those big certifications. They are important, but trust me, knowing what you're doing, at least being comfortable with the terminologies which are going to be taught in these classes, is extremely important. So even if you can't get those certifications now, it's important that you are honing in on those skills, you are learning those skills, and yeah. Then we also have Cybersecurity 101 as one of our I call them micro mastery. It's a half-day course. So I pinned some important links. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's in the chat box and it's pinned. And the links to apply for our courses are there, and for the micro mastery, they're all there. The links to chat with us. And what else? What other link? Yeah, so there are important links there, and phone number, and our phone number is also there. Yeah, so trust me, our classes are very interactive. This was obviously a master class. We are constrained by time, so everybody can talk and ask questions and all of that. But the real life classes are exceptional, trust me. You can go to our Instagram page to see some of the reviews we've had. Um, what else did I want to say? Yeah, so all the important links are there, and then our phone number is there as well. Our contact is on the screen. So you can always reach out to us anytime with any questions that you might have. Then also, I wanted to say, if you have questions regarding the presentation, please drop it in the chat box. Okay, Coralie, I think a question just came in for you from Karim. He says, thank you for your time. In the Agile methodology, the Scrum and Kanban, how can we differentiate between it and Trello? I think, well, and let me leave that to Coralie to respond.
So
Thank
Trello
you,
is the
Adebanjo.
software, correct?
Yeah, I wanted to say that Trello is
Yeah,
the
I was just
software. So
so I'm a little confused by the Coralie understands. She has a thought.
Yeah. So I believe that to differentiate the agile to the scrum to Kanban to the hybrid, I think it's just a matter of determining what the project is. So remember, if it's a waterfall approach, then there is not going to be any changes. It's very sequential. I can't even talk now. Is sequential. It's going to go from one phase to the next. Where it's agile, there is going to be multiple changes, and you don't necessarily have an end deadline. And that's basically what that is. Sometimes we need to be able to do a hybrid of the two, where one has to be incorporated into the other. It may start out as a waterfall, but then you do bring in the agile component to it, and that could be software development or something like that. In regards to the software, Trello was one of the softwares, just very similar, and that would be more agile. But that could also be where you could be using Microsoft Planner, Microsoft Project. So it's really dependent on what your organization is going to use as well, but I like just the Microsoft products personally. I do teach all of those Microsoft products, and I really find that Planner is very simple to be able to use. For more technical projects, I'm going to say Microsoft Project, right? So you can still use the both online components of them, as well as one of them does offer a desktop version. So and those are something, yes, you do have a subscription to be able to use the project for desktop. The other ones, Sherry, you can chime in on that, but I believe that they come with your Microsoft Office package, right? And some of them would be paid licenses, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
okay, another question came in. Hi, good evening, Coralie and the entire ReTrain team. Thank you for this insightful class. I'm new to project management. Coralie mentioned how project management cuts across industries. My question is, as someone who wants to go into project management, do you have to define what industry you want to go into? For instance, the profession lecturer, you can't just be a lecturer, you have to define the specific academic line. Does this apply to project management too? Why are you laughing? Yeah.
Oh, no, it's I love the example of lecturer,
Okay, lecturer, yeah.
Coralie, may I
Yeah.
take this question?
Yeah, I think either one of us could chime in on it. Please go. Yeah.
Okay. So I love the way you said it. I think henceforth I'm just going to call myself the speaker. I'm not going to isolate anything in particular. I love that. The trick I think is you want to piggyback project management with skills you currently have, or a specific industry if you've not yet entered it. So if you're currently working in construction and that's where you see yourself, you piggyback those project management skills on construction. I think if you're working in business, kind of within cross-functional teams in an office setting, you can use those skills transferably across multiple fields. Honestly, piggybacking on what you already know is the way to become the best project manager. But once you've learned the skills of project management, yes, you could transfer that across. So that comes a bit to selling yourself and how you put that information on your resume or your LinkedIn. But what a great question.
It is.
Yeah.
And I agree with what you said as well, Sherry. That was fantastic. Another question I see from David: in the case of a Kanban board, is it a must? It a must? It must be visual. It can't be tangible. For instance, a physical board. So you can have both. Okay, so it really depends on what you're going to be using there, David. I think that one of them, yes, you could have the physical board where you can go up, and we saw those different columns where you could actually move the actual cards or the post-its from one column to the next. But you could also have it where it's visual for everyone to see. But the next component of it is you would have a software so you could track it a little bit better. That might be the visual board, but the tracking component would be more of the software application. Agree with that there too, Sherry? Because you use those as well.
Absolutely. You know, in the remote setting, having a physical board isn't as helpful. When I was doing in-person teams, oh, I
Yes.
loved my whiteboard. It just made me so happy. It took me so long to get used to not having my whiteboard, but yes, the online tools could do the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Another
another
question. Yeah,
Okay.
please go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. So it says, so I can decide to use MS Project for the traditional method and Jira for the agile methodology. I think it's asking which software to use for which methodology or which method.
You
Yeah.
can use different software for different approaches. Correct. Okay. So yes and yes.
Okay. Esther says, hello everyone, good evening. I would love to learn project management. How do I go about it? So let me take that. So Esther, I think we've mentioned 2 different courses you can actually take to learn about project management with us at ReTrain. So we have the project management with Office 365, which is a 2-week program and is scheduled for October 20th. And we also have the MS Planner, which is pretty much the project management software tool on Microsoft. We have a half-day course for that. So the links I think are there. I pinned them. I hope you can see them. So yes, so that's how you can go about learning project management. Did I do justice to that question, Sherry and Coralie?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, another one is, in addition to this, how do we select an industry to focus on? Does our first degree have anything to do with this? Okay, let me answer this as well. I think that was following up to the previous question you answered, Coralie. So when you say, do we need to select an industry to focus on? So it's more of a preference thing. So the question is, what industry do you want to work in? What industry interests you? Because as a project manager, you can literally work in any industry. Every industry has a project. So the question is, what industry are you interested in? And sorry, the question just disappeared now. Okay. Then you also said, does our first degree have anything to do with this? So no. So let me use myself as an example. My first degree was economics. I don't think economics has anything to do with project management. But then again, there are some skills you learn that can be transferred into your role as a project manager. So think of it in terms of skills as opposed to degrees or certifications. It's more about skills like communication, time management, and all the other skills that were mentioned or that a project manager needs to have. Yes. So regardless of your degree, think more of skills as opposed to degrees. Mm. I'm looking for the next question. Sorry. Mm.
Oh, and then the additional comment that was added onto David's, a Kanban view is a dashboard interface, physical board, doesn't deal with software, I guess. Do you want to add on to that, Sherry? Because I did talk about that, but you can see in Planner and Project the different views. If you want a Gantt chart, which is more of a kind of a flow chart, if I were to say, to see it from step to step for your phases. You can also see it in more of the Kanban, kind of, we call them buckets. So you can see it in the different areas as well, but you could also have a physical board. So it really kind of depends. As Sherry mentioned, I think being in a class setting, she loved using the whiteboard, and so did I. But also, I have a tendency of online, we also can use the whiteboard and we can do things on there to be able to make it a visual, kind of like a Kanban, a kind of appearance as well. Sherry, anything to add on that?
Nope. No, lots
Okay.
of tools and new tools being added every day. If you
Yes.
went into AI right now and said top project management tools for software packages for a hybrid approach between waterfall and agile and see what its answers were, then you could go probably find more. And there's more free ones that show up all the time. We will teach a standard kind of Microsoft Office products. But again, it's like anything. Once you learn one software, it's really not hard to jump ship and go to another. At least we find that it isn't.
Yes. They're very interchangeable, very user-friendly. Olyenka?
Sorry. Yes.
Hi.
Sorry. I was just.
Oh, did you have
I
another
was looking
question?
at the
I think you
questions.
were looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I was looking. Sorry. Okay. Someone asked, "What's the difference between program management and project management?" And someone also asked, "What's the difference between product management and project management?" So I'll leave that to you, Carly.
Product
Mhm.
management and project management?
Yeah, so basically they asked two different people asked. One is what's the difference between product management and project management, and another one was program management and project management. Yeah.
Can I jump in?
Yes,
Sure.
go ahead.
All right.
Absolutely.
You know what? There's so many terms. So,
Yeah.
long story short, product management is the development of a person, a team, and or a product, a specific product or idea. And that depends on how you're applying that. Project management is looking at a project is something with a start and an end, and it's a full process. So I mean, I guess I think I've heard people use them interchangeably, but not advisable. Project
Mhm.
management is very specific. The difference between a project and maybe a program management is a project has a start and an end. That's your goal. You want to get to the end, whereas sometimes things that are in a continuous process, for example, wouldn't necessarily be called a project. But now we're getting into some interesting theory, and there's also some disputes in this regard. So, an easy rabbit hole to go down. But again,
Mhm.
do search. Do a search. Look up the difference between the two and find out how those different skills are transferable.
Yes. I think there's another question on there. Olyenka, I don't know if you wanted to touch base on it. I think somebody's asking about the course cost. It's not on the website.
Okay. So the 2 week course is 250,000, although we're giving an exclusive discount to those who attended. So don't worry, just fill the form and then we will let you in on the discount. But there's a discount for those who registered for this masterclass. Yes. Yeah,
Nice.
so once you fill the application form, yeah, we would know anyway from your email if you were in this session, and then we'll apply the discount to you and let you know how much you'll be paying. But the original fee is 250,000. Okay, someone asked me a question, Olainka. Okay, they say I didn't get, okay, so you said you didn't get the PMP certificate. How were you able to get credibility without it? So basically, my previous roles, I was pretty much the project manager. Yeah, the project manager. And I'd handled lots of projects, like hands-on from beginning to end. So in terms of experience, I had it. In terms of the skills, I had it. So it was, I proved it by, I guess, how I spoke. Or yeah, so I was able to prove it because I had the skills and I'd done it over and over and over again. So it was almost like what's it called? Let's say second nature. Yeah, so that was how I was able to prove credibility. They asked questions and I was able to give answers and give examples, like specific examples of maybe issues with a particular project or how I handled the particular project. So yes, I hope that answers the question. And then I also wanted to add, in terms of if you're looking to go into project management and maybe your previous role wasn't exactly a project management role, just when you're sending your CV or submitting a CV for a role like that, ensure that you highlight those skills, and in your achievements, try and also link how you did a bit of project management in your previous role, indicate those achievements in your CV, so that even though your title, your job role may not indicate project management, but based on your achievements, they will see, okay, you've managed a few projects here and there. Just thought to add that. Okay, so there are so many questions. There are so many questions.
You know what we could do, Olianka,
Yeah.
you know what would be great is if people sent some emails off to you with any questions that they have.
Questions, yeah. Yeah, so you can let me just put, so you can actually send your questions via WhatsApp, because I think WhatsApp, but also put our email there. Because Nigerians, okay, so Sherry, I don't know how familiar you guys are with WhatsApp over there, but I know in Nigeria, like WhatsApp is like our main tool. So I'm just going to paste the links again and also put our email so that you have all the means of getting in touch with us.
Perfect.
So please,
our
if your
IT
question
team
was
has to give me
asked,
permission.
yeah. So if you've asked any question and it hasn't been answered, please feel free to send a message on WhatsApp or send us an email, and we'll definitely get back to you. Yeah, because I don't think we'll be able to. Okay, good. A Google form for the questions.
Oh, or Microsoft Forms.
Or
Ooh, let's listen.
Okay, so I think
Microsoft
what
or
we can
Google.
do is, if you join, if you can, the link to our WhatsApp community is there, so you can join, and then I would create the form and send the link to the WhatsApp community so that you can always use the form to ask your questions. Yeah. Thank you for the suggestion, Martin. Okay. Yeah. So I just want to be sure everyone has seen the links. I've shared them again, and I'll create the form, send it to the community so that the questions from this session will be, you can send them in that link. Okay.
Olianka, thank
Thank
you
you
for
so much,
hosting
Sherry.
us.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Thank you, Coralie. I appreciate you
very
guys so
much.
much. Yes. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, taking the time out and staying till this time. We appreciate you.
We hope
Okay.
to see you in some courses.
In class, yes. We
Bye,
do.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.